Hi, and welcome back to Fonte Show on Let's Talk Business. Today we'll be dealing on the different stages of a business, the challenges, and how to respond. Now, you really need to understand that every business, in fact, all businesses have the same go through the same stages. But what is different, what happens differently, is how you respond to it, recognizing these stages, recognizing the challenges and how to respond. Unfortunately, so many entrepreneurs react instead of responding, because you only react because you are not aware of these challenges, and then therefore you never planned or you never knew how to respond. Now, I'm going to appeal to you entrepreneurs to pay very close attention to this, because this is really very important. I feel I need to share this because so many people, these days, because of social media, it's very easy for one to want to become an entrepreneur, which is very good. But then people get to a stage and get frustrated, and they get burnout. They get, the frustration eats into them, their lives and everything. So it's very important that you understand these things, so that some of the complaints that people on social media, they will begin to understand where that, you don't need to take your frustration out on people or every other person out there, because almost every single person is also struggling. So it's important that you understand the intricacies of a business before you bounce into it, so that you don't bounce out how you bounce in. Now, this is really essential. This topic in particular is really essential for startups, for first generation entrepreneurs, for creative entrepreneurs and small businesses. It is important for every entrepreneur, but specifically these entrepreneurs, because it hits us hardest, because when you start a business without the adequate knowledge and fortitude, it's going to really be very tough. But before I go into the topic of today, first of all, let me remind you that we're going to be having Women into Leadership Conference on the 27th of July in London. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, make sure you go to divasofcolor.com to get your ticket. Yeah, we are going to have a lot of successful entrepreneurs, professionals, who are going to be sharing some very, very important tips and content that you need for your own both professional career success and for your business success. So now, let me give you some statistics so that we can stay into a perspective on this topic. One, according to Small Business Association, it says that only 30% of new businesses fell during the first 2 years. 30% fell in the first 2 years, and in the first 5 years, 50% of businesses, of startup, don't make it up to 5 years. That is staggering. And then it goes ahead to say 66% will collapse before they get to 10 years. So this is how tough business is. And it says in UK, this is statistics, in UK anyway. So I'm focusing on UK business, which sometimes you can use a small fraction of a place to be able to judge the general one. So I think it's the same all over the world. And it says in London particularly that startup failure, is the highest, that it has the worst rate of startup failure in the UK, where 50% of every business that starts in London only makes it to 3 years. That's within 3 years, 50% are already gone. That is London. So, and what causes this? Lack of planning, lack of funding, and lack of flexibility. And all this can be grouped under knowledge. So most entrepreneurs, if you're not equipped with the right knowledge, then you are going to fall on the sword. So this is why I'm taking out the time to share this freely so that you can also gain from it. Now, what are the stages of a business, and what are the challenges, and how do you respond to those challenges? One, now I'm talking about the stages of business. The first stage of a business is the launch phase. At this stage, your business is still a baby. Your business needs to be fed. Your business is still using it needs to be carried. Actually, you know how a baby starts growing, dependent on you completely. So you are 100% supporting, have to be there to support the business. This stage is very critical for small businesses, for creatives, for first generation startups, businesses, because the behind the scene challenges, the family challenges, the personal challenges you have might affect your ability to go beyond this launch phase. And this is the first 2 years, usually, depending on what business you're doing, first 2-3 years, in fact, first 5 years. So depending on what business you're doing, at this stage, your focus is usually on the marketing, trying to send out the message of what your business is, trying to bring out your USP, trying to reach your target market. Unfortunately, at this stage, there's usually lack of resources. There's usually no money, no funding. Yet, this stage is when you spend the most amount of money. It requires a huge amount of money for you to be able to do your marketing, for you to be able to send, send your message out there, for you to be able to convince people that this is something they need. So, what do you do? How do you respond to these challenges? Remember, you have your own personal needs as well, and you are trying to build a business. And at this stage, remember that your revenue is very low. The cost is high. You're losing in everything you're doing. You're losing more money. There's no cash flow. Everything is like madness. So how do you get through this launch phase? This is very important. So I want to stress this point, this stage, because so many people get frustrated and get they lose faith in their business, or even their family members, their relative friends lose faith in them at this time, and they believe in themselves that their business is not viable because they haven't made the millions they thought they were going to make. Now, let me address this. This is why it's very important as a small business, as a creative, as a first generation entrepreneur who has no funding. You don't have funding, and your parents, or you don't have hedge fund, you don't have you don't have money running flowing about for you to launch a business where you're gonna employ different people. That is why it's very important that your small business, you start from what you can do, what naturally comes to you. That has to be the basis of your business, because at this stage, almost every single thing you ask somebody to do, you are going to have to pay. But if you know how to handle those things that you need to do, for example, let's say for example, what example am I going to use now? Okay, let me continue first. So at this stage, you have to know your stuff. You have to know how to do almost every single thing that you need to start off. That's one thing. Two is, this is the real time for you to use collaboration. because this is when you build your portfolio. This is when you prove yourself. This is when, you are going to garner all the goodwill, all the testimonials, feedback that you are going to use to build a brand that will be trusted. A credible brand that be, for you to build trust, people really need to see what you have done. So, and this is where most, especially creatives and small businesses, get it very wrong. People come into a business, into an industry, and they want to skip this stage. And when they are not able to skip this stage, they become frustrated. They start fighting with everybody. They start having issues, and they become frustrated. And once you're frustrated at this stage, you can't go beyond here. So how do you do this? Now, first of all, you must collaborate with people. You must know your stuff. Now that you know your stuff, you can offer your services to get other services so that you're not spending cash. Let me repeat that. Now, okay, for example, now, I'm a writer or I'm a speaker. If I'm a speaker or I'm a coach, I'm going to offer my services free, targeting the audience that I want. Let's say, for example, you are an artist, you are a performer, and nobody knows you as a performer. Nobody's going to hire you. You want to come into the industry. You find yourself that, one, you have to look for maybe event organizations or places where you are going to be provide your performance free so that you can build your portfolio. You can have your video recording, your pictures, you have people practically seeing you and recommend, and begin to learn to recommend you. Or you can, from there, people begin to know you, so that when you are setting up your own tour, people are actually going to say they want to see you. If you could do this within 2 minutes and they saw you at an event, then they're going to pay to come and see you when you launch your own tour, when you're going to have a tour. So many people don't get this. They want to start billing everybody, and they have nothing to show for their billing. So every single business goes through this. If you are very observant, you can see that some big brands, let's say yogurt, drinks, and all that, you can see from time to time, especially in London, you see them giving away products. And you wonder, that those products cost them huge amounts of money. The businesses are not stupid, because the best marketing strategy is for somebody to have a contact with your product or service and decide. You can do so many adverts you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do on the TV, radio, and all that. If people haven't really had contact with your brand or business, it's difficult for them to decide. So that is why these businesses, what they do is, along with them doing their marketing of advertisement and all that, introducing the brand, they're also handing out these products. Some businesses, they sponsor events where they believe that their target audience are, and they give out their products so that you, their target market, can feel and touch the product or the services. And when you have touched it, you can get glued to it. You start searching for it. If you like it, like if you like something, you don't need anybody telling you if it's good or not. So you have now decided that, oh, this is really good for me. So this is the launch phase. Very, very important, especially for small business with limited funding, especially for first generation entrepreneurs with no funding, especially for creatives with no funding. Start your business from the point of your strength. I say this all the time, and I cannot say it enough. Start your business from the point of your strength so that you can offer your service or your business, your product, in exchange for what you need. And what you need at this stage is to get your message out there. Remember, you have limited funding, so you're not going to be competing with big businesses advertising on TV, radio, magazines, billboards, and all that. You don't have that funding. And even if you do that, even if you do, how many billboards are you going to do? How much minutes are you going to have and have on TV, and for how long? Your money is gone. You don't even have the money already. So it's better for you to produce what you have and let people have a feel, and word of mouth goes out for you. So understand the stage of your business, understand that your business, you just launched it. And it's important also for you to know that each stage of a business is determined by the response. It wouldn't say, oh, because this person started her business in 1 year and they've gone past the launch phase. No, each business, each type of business, and each particular business itself, industry and business of its own, is peculiar and different. So they have peculiar challenges. They have peculiar growth and stage. You could launch your business or brand or whatever within 6 months or 1 year. You're already known, people are, and you're able to go to the next stage. But some other businesses could take another 5 years before they grow past that stage. So it's very important for you to understand this so you can plan effectively. Now, after the launch phase, what you notice is the growth. You get into the growth phase. And these things, you can't really force it. The only thing you can do is to respond and implement changes. So you cannot force your business to go from launch phase to growth phase. Once you do that, once you break the chain, you might harm yourself and harm the business, and you find yourself bouncing out. I use the word bouncing out because so many people bounce into businesses, forgetting that the same way you bounced in is the same way you might bounce out. In fact, you'll be knocked off the track if you're not careful. Now, at the growth phase, there is rapid sales. Remember, since your launch phase, you've been sending out your message, getting people to feel and touch your business, your services, acquainting yourself with your target audience and making your products or services accessible for these people. You are getting a lot of testimonials from people you've worked with, you've collaborated with, those kind of things. So now you begin to see people making orders. You begin to see people calling your phone, emailing, filling up the form on your website, asking, making inquiries and actually buying. This is your growth phase. You see, sales have begun. Cash flow is improving. You are getting orders. People are calling. People are interested in your business and all that. Your profit begins to grow. And in fact, some people will begin to reach and break even. So, and at this time, your sales are going to begin to compensate for the sales you didn't make in your launch phase, so, and you begin to make profit. You begin to make profit and your cash flow begins to go up. This time you are able to spread your tentacles. You are able to do things. You are busy. You are very busy. Now, the challenge at this stage is many people get carried away at this stage. They feel that their business or their service has become invincible. They believe that they are at the top of their game, and they begin to become arrogant. They begin to disregard their clients. They begin to spend too much money on unnecessary things, taking unnecessary risk, and spending too much money, or especially, this is very important now, especially for first generation entrepreneurs. Family pressure. Family pressure at this stage might derail you, because everybody in your family begin to see that they begin to look at it like you have money and you don't want to help them. So you are spending the money like that, forgetting that you are only beginning to balance your book. So if you're not careful at this stage, after this stage, you're going to have a real depression in your business, and it's difficult to recover. Some businesses at this stage, because they're having a lot of orders and all that, they begin to employ, they begin to, they won't even know when they have overemployed. As a small business, you have to have in mind how much. You need to learn how to curb your cost at all times. It's important that you always curb your cost at all times, because it is cost that puts every small business in that age of whether you're going to grow or you're going to bounce. So this is very, very important. Growth phase. Some people get carried away. That is the challenge that comes with growth phase. You see yourself spending unnecessarily. You see yourself not able to save for your business, or reinvest in areas that will see your business growing. Rather, people begin to start living a lavish lifestyle. You begin to want to buy all the things you never had. You start dipping your hand into your business to buy designer clothes, to look a certain way, to compete. And your competition, you are not doing the competition with your business. You are now having a lavish lifestyle, focusing on trying to please people around you instead of pleasing your business. So this is a very critical stage as well for every entrepreneur. So being able to manage this stage is very important. As much as sales are coming, it's very important for you to stick to the level you can handle and you can manage. Manage your expansion. If you're a small business and you have limited funding, once your sales begin to go up, it's not a good idea at the first time for you to start employing more hands. Rather, thank God for the social media. It's better for you to outsource your business. Look for virtual assistants, look for freelancers who will work based on per order, or depending on how busy you are at the time. Sometimes people get carried away. They start answering boss. They want to be CEO. They don't do any work anymore. Some of the things they can do by themselves, you see them employing a PA, employing different unnecessary staff, and the whole money cost goes into the cost. Now, the checkout stage. One second. What stage are we? Okay, the checkout stage. Okay, now the checkout stage is also the stage where the sales are also increasing, but at a slower rate. And now remember, as soon as you went into the growth phase, people are going to be seeing that you started making money. So expect that there are going to be other businesses. Competition is going to come. New businesses are going to be launched in your area of business. Whatever business it is you're doing, you're going to see serious competition, because there will be new people who have seen from you that probably this business is a viable business. They want to come into it. Now, remember, in your launch phase, you are doing almost everything free. So these people, now as they are launching, you are now going into your checkout stage. As they are launching, they will start grabbing some of those sales that you're getting. because they are able to either give out free or undercut. So you are struggling now with pricing. You are struggling to keep your clients. You are struggling to, manage, you know. So now it now depends on how did you manage your growth phase. How you manage your growth phase now will determine what happens in your shakeouts. So this is where the rapport and the goodwill that you built along the line is going to become your bank account to sustain at this stage, because when the competition is getting tougher, then it is the quality of your business now that will make you stand out. After this stage, you go into the maturity stage. What is maturity stage? So many businesses don't get to this stage. So many businesses. Remember, I'm not putting years into any of the stages because it all depends on your business. It depends on how you respond, and it depends on how the industry you are functions, and who is your competition all the while. So there's no there's no years attached to any stage. All the stages, it is determined by the business itself. So it depends on, so you have to respond based on what you observe in your business. So the maturity stage, you find that sales begin to stagnate. It's just at a level. You still have a cash flow. Everything is, is normal now. There's no pressure. That you know who your clients are. Your clients know you. You begin to have repeat sales, repeat orders. People, the same, the same clients come over and over. There's trust now. Your clients are beginning to trust you. Your suppliers, people are beginning. You have built trust at this stage. So everything is in equilibrium. That's maturity stage. And also one thing important here is also for you to know that at this point, turnover might become higher than the profit. So sometimes, and this is a very serious issue as well, because people misunderstand. They mix up turnover with profit. The amount you turn over does not necessarily, is not necessarily proportionate with your profit. So turnover is different from profit. So if you don't manage it this time, because when people see entrepreneurs or businesses, when they see cash flow going in the business, they think the business is making a lot of profit, and they begin to also spend the money, forgetting that they're spending the business money, not even the profit. So you have to really be very careful also when you are at this stage. Then after the maturity stage, so at this maturity stage, this is when your response at this stage will determine if your business is going to stay a lot more longer or is going to begin to decline. So the response here is the business. You can extend this stage by reinventing yourself, repackaging. You see some businesses rebranding. You see some business changing their packaging. For example, I see like let's say Coca-Cola. Remember, Coca-Cola over the years, from time to time they will change the design of their bottle, or look at any big businesses, any big brand. From time to almost every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you see them change the look of their packaging, probably add one more thing to that product, or begin to produce variations of that product. Coca-Cola is one of the most known brands in the world. You can see before there was no Coca-Cola diet, there was no Coca-Cola strawberry, all those kind of things. But now you see there are different flavors of Coca-Cola. There are different sugar-free, there are this and that. Because you have to look at the changing environment and be able to adapt and adjust so that you refresh the brand to meet the needs at the time. At one point, you can only find Coca-Cola in a bottle. Then they get into the stage of small, plastic, and then big plastic bottles, family size, smaller size, this and that. So they are trying to adjust to the changing environment. Just like let's say in the printing industry, at one point, it's print. The more you print, the better. But these days, you see that everybody going electronic. People are measuring and checking the environment and knowing how to adjust and adapt to it. Then you can also retarget. You can change your target audience. You can twist your target audience. For example, now the environment where we are now is inclusion, diversity. So it's now really difficult for you to target only a fraction of people. You get a backlash. So you cannot, like it is now, you cannot say you target only women, or you target only, once you exclude any group, it becomes a problem. So you have to find a way to make your business, or make if you make your target audience in terms of race, religion, or anything at all, it is difficult now. So you really need to manage how to position your business so that you are not discriminatory, or once you are tagged discriminatory, that your business or service is discriminatory, it becomes a huge problem for you. Now, you can also reposition your business by introducing new technology, and you refreshing your growth in the market. And then I think I've covered all of it. So these are very, very necessary. So the little things as a small business, some of the little things you can do could include, you can redesign your website, you can change your logo, you can change the format of your business, you can change your pricing, you can tweak your pricing, you can create more packages that are more flexible to meet the needs of people who need it. You have to be able to, you can begin to refresh the language that you use. If you're somebody probably been using too much informal way of running, sending out your message, you might begin to consider it to become more professional, or more formal. So, or if you have been very formal, seriously, non-seriously, and all that, you begin to add some, casual words into your so you can meet different groups. Different ways you can do that. Now, after the maturity phase, very good businesses that are sustained, they might stay on maturity for as long as possible. But of course, that whatever has a beginning, one day will end. It might take 150 years, it might take 200. You can look at Debnam, look at so many, businesses. What's it called? Okay, there are so many. Look at the high street, what is happening. Some businesses that have been there for over 150 years. At the end of this time now, they're laying off their staff and closing their doors. So every business at one point might get to that decline stage. It could be because of family issues. It could be because of the real founder, is no more, and the people, the new managers, the new directors are not able to meet up, or maybe the children that inherited the business are not able to manage it, and the business bows out. So every business, looks up to getting to at least the maturity stage. So, and that's it from me today. So if you've heard all that I've said, I'm trying as hard as possible so that I don't go beyond 30 minutes. I'm already out of 30 minutes, so I'll be rounding up now. So I expect to see you at Divas of Color Conference, Women into Leadership. The theme of the conference is your catalyst for success. You have to be there. Go to diversofcolor.com and get your ticket, or you go to Eventbrite. And as always, if you find my video interesting and valuable, please make sure you share it and subscribe. Make sure you share to people who are going to benefit from it. Don't keep it to yourself, because I didn't keep mine to myself. I paid a lot of money going for courses and things like that, but then I know that in my community especially, so many people are struggling with their businesses and they need to know this. So let us be our sisters and brothers keepers. Share this message out there. Let people learn and be able to sustain their businesses. And that is it, all of it from me today. Please keep in touch. Send me messages. If you want to be part of my mentoring, if you want to sign up for my mentoring, visit my website, fontibon.com/mentoring. Follow me on all the social media at Fonte. You see it on the screen soon. So that's all of it from me today. Don't let any challenge make you bounce out. Thank you.